Have you ever had one of those periods where your sleep schedule just completely, well, unravels?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when your brain feels like fog and the world itself seems, I don't know, a bit out of focus.
Yeah, definitely.
What if that wasn't just exhaustion, but actually a key? Maybe unlocking some kind of hidden layer of reality that's been like pulsating just beneath our own all along.
Well, that's pretty much the territory we're diving into today. We're looking at this amazing collection of observations and notes, all centered around, believe it or not, an ordinary man in Derry, Maine.
Right. And this isn't just about sleep deprivation, is it? It's about a really radical shift in perception, like peeling back a curtain on a secret world.
Exactly.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack these detailed accounts. We're drawing out the most important facts, the surprising insights from personal notes, fragmented reports, firsthand experiences, all shared by this guy, Ralph Roberts, and the people around him.
Yeah, we're following his journey from chronic sleeplessness to witnessing something.
Yeah.
Well, some might call it an entirely new reality.
Get ready, then, to challenge your understanding of what's truly real.
You might discover some unexpected forces at play and maybe look at your own world a little differently afterwards.
Okay, let's do it. Armed with our mission, let's dive straight into these revelations, starting with the man himself, Ralph Roberts.
Okay.
So we start with Ralph. He's 70, recently widowed after his wife Carolyn passed away. And his life takes this really unexpected turn. His sleep schedule, which was, pretty normal before, it starts to deteriorate badly.
And not just like waking up a bit early.
No. The sources say he's waking up progressively sooner and sooner. Eventually, he's down to maybe 2 hours of sleep a night.
Wow. That's barely functional.
Totally. And it wasn't just being tired. It hit his memory, his judgment, his whole sense of reality. He felt like a ghost inside his own skin, is how it's put.
Rough. And he tries to explain it away.
Yeah, initially he just dismisses it, effects of aging, maybe being too sedentary, even though the stuff he was reading on sleep disorders kind of suggested otherwise.
Right. Denial. And then things get weirder.
Oh, yeah. This is where Ralph's reality really starts to warp. As the insomnia gets worse, he starts seeing things, inexplicable colored auras around people.
And these aren't just like faint little glows.
Not at all. They're described as brilliantly colored, shifting forms, spheres, cones, crescents of light, really distinct.
Okay.
He also sees these balloon strings rising from people's heads.
Balloon string.
Yeah, which he eventually understands are their life threads.
Life threads. Okay, so we're definitely not in Kansas anymore.
Exactly. And at first he thinks, maybe these are hallucinations, side effect of no sleep, or like a hyper-reality, almost like an LSD trip is how he thinks of it. Stress-induced rummage sale action, he calls it.
Understandable reaction, I guess, facing something like that.
So Ralph's going through this bizarre, frankly terrifying new vision of the world, wondering if he's losing his mind. But then something crucial happens, a piece of information that just flips everything.
What's that?
He finds out he wasn't alone. He wasn't the only one seeing this stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. His young neighbor, Natalie, she also sees these phenomena. She even tries to, grab at the oral contrails his fingers leave behind.
Wow. A kid sees it too.
And later, he finds out Lois Chass, a friend, she can perceive these auras too.
Okay, that is a game changer.
Right. It shifts the whole perspective, doesn't it, if others see it? Well, what does that mean about reality itself? Are they hallucinations, or is there genuinely something more there?
That's the vital question, isn't it? And the sources are pretty clear. While Ralph initially fears he's going mad, the fact that Natalie and Lois share this perception confirms it. He's actually tapping into a real layer of existence. It's hidden, sure, but real.
So not hallucination, heightened awareness.
Exactly. That shared sight is the first solid proof that their world is way more complex than they ever thought.
And this new perception, this altered sight, it quickly drags Ralph into the middle of some serious tensions brewing in his town, Derry.
Yeah, particularly involving his neighbor, Ed Deepno.
Right, Ed Deepno. He was a research chemist, but the sources describe him going through this really disturbing personality shift.
He becomes volatile, extremist.
Very violent towards his wife, Helen. He gets obsessed with these radical anti-abortion views, starts believing there's wholesale murder of the unborn happening everywhere. Globally.
And here's the crucial link. Ed also claims to see things.
Yeah, he says he sees colors, which Ralph figures must be auras, and really disturbingly, corpses of babies everywhere, even on roofs.
Ugh. So there's this direct connection between Ralph's new sight and Ed's. Well, madness.
Which understandably becomes this huge source of dread for Ralph. He's terrified of ending up in the same boat as Ed Deepno.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Ed is seeing this hidden reality too, but his perception is just completely warped by his mental state. He's interpreting these neutral auras through the lens of his extremist ideology.
Horrifying, and this ties into a real-world conflict happening in Derry.
The Woman Care Clinic.
Exactly. A women's resource center and abortion clinic. Things escalate when Susan Day, described as a controversial women's rights advocate, is invited to speak. It just polarizes the town even more.
And the Friends of Life group, initially led by someone named Dan Dalton.
It becomes much more extreme under Ed Deepno's influence. Demonstrations, violence.
And the sources note something interesting about the push to rezone woman care, right?
Yeah, it's described as a pipe dream from the start. Because legally, the clinic is classified as a hospital.
So the fight wasn't really about zoning laws.
Seems like it highlights much deeper, more emotional motivations behind the protests. So you've got these deeply held beliefs colliding with this disturbed perception in Ed. How does that fuel the extreme actions? What do the sources say about that?
What's really clear is how it shows that when someone's fundamental perception gets altered, like Ed's obviously was, their existing beliefs can get amplified, twisted into something really dangerous. Ed's extreme views found reinforcement in his distorted sightings. He started believing his radical actions were justified by this horrifying truth only he could see.
A kind of extreme confirmation bias?
Exactly. It's a pretty stark warning about unchecked perception, isn't it?
Definitely. And Ralph gets personally pulled into this. He's attacked by a guy, Charlie Pickering.
Who calls him a centurion and baby killer?
Right. And in this moment of desperation, Ralph defends himself using this aerosol spray bodyguard that some women from Woman Care had given to him.
And the sources say it appeared. How?
Magically in his pocket, almost like it was willed into existence right when he needed it.
Okay, so that suggests intervention, like he's part of something bigger?
Seems like it. It draws him deeper into the conflict and hints that maybe he's not just a passive observer anymore.
So his perceptions keep deepening. It's not just auras now.
No. He starts encountering these mysterious figures, short, bald men wearing white smocks, often with glowing auras themselves, and they leave these distinct glowing tracks behind them. He calls them Arthur Murray dance diagrams.
Pre-choreographed steps.
Yeah, exactly. Implying their movements are part of some precise cosmic dance, he starts calling them docs, or little bald doctors.
And someone warns him about this.
An old friend, Dorrance Marsteller, described as having an ethereal and knowing quality. He warns Ralph about long-time business.
Long-time business. Okay, so what are these long-timers? What's their deal in this expanded reality?
Well, what Ralph and Lois eventually figure out is that these doctors are basically metaphysical beings, almost like the Greek fates.
Fates. Clotho, Lachesis, Atropos.
Precisely. Clotho and Lachesis serve what's called a higher purpose. They're the weavers, the measurers. They account for most events, maintain the appointed lifespan, the short time of every creature.
Okay, so they represent order, purpose.
Yeah.
What about the third one, Atropos?
Atropos is the wild card. He represents the random. His role is interference, chaos.
Ah, so it's a balance. Purpose versus random.
Exactly. The world isn't just random, but it's not entirely predetermined either. It's this delicate, ongoing balance between these cosmic forces. They kind of define each other.
That's a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
And they learned something specific about Atropos and Ed Deepno.
Yes. A huge revelation. They learn Atropos had cut Ed Deepno's master cord.
Cut his master cord. What does that signify?
The master cord seems to be the central life thread, the core of a person's existence in this long-time reality.
So cutting it.
It's central to all the chaos. It means Ed is undesignated. He's living outside the normal flow of the higher purpose.
Which explains why he's lived so long despite apparently having his cord cut, and why his actions cause such disruption.
Exactly. It connects Ed's madness directly to this cosmic scheme, to the active interference of the random. It's not just psychological.
Wow, okay. And there's more about Ralph's insomnia, too. It wasn't just random.
Right. This is maybe the most mind-bending part. Clotho and Lachesis actually admit they make certain small changes in short-time auras, which caused a rather special form of insomnia that altered the way you dream and the way you perceive the waking world.
So, they gave him the insomnia. Deliberately.
It seems so. To bring him into this higher level of awareness, it wasn't an illness, it was a catalyst, an intentional manipulation to open his eyes.
Though they warned that madness is always a danger, with that kind of shift.
Which makes sense, but what does that do to the idea of free will if his perception was manipulated?
That's the big question, isn't it? The sources suggest that while his perception was absolutely manipulated, his choices within that altered reality, the decisions he and Lois make later, the sacrifices,
Yeah.
those seem profoundly their own. It highlights this powerful, even if influenced, sense of agency. It's a really complex interplay between cosmic design and individual choice.
So as they learned all this, Ralph and Lois actually gained abilities themselves. They could access this other level.
Yeah, they found they could blink or step up to this long-time level of perception.
And what was that like?
Even more vivid auras, invisible forces,
Yeah.
and these things called death bags.
F-bags. Grim name.
Pretty much. Direct indications of impending death. But the whole experience was like sensory overload, this hugely expanded awareness.
And they developed powers.
Remarkable abilities, yeah.
Yeah.
Lois could shoot these compact shapes of light from her finger, described vividly as nuclear cough drops.
Nuclear cough drops.
Small, concentrated bursts of metaphysical energy that could affect things on the long-time level.
Okay, and Ralph.
Ralph could generate a bolt of cold blue fire from his hand, and they both learned how to borrow energy from other auras for strength, vitality.
Wow, and they get called centurions.
Right, which is that clever double meaning.
Yeah.
To Ed, it was a slur for his enemies, the baby killers.
No.
But for Ralph and Lois, it described their new power, their ability to tap into and manipulate these long-time energies.
And they needed these powers because they discovered something terrible was planned.
Yes, they saw a huge death bag surrounding the Derry Civic Center.
Indicating a major random event.
A mass casualty incident, orchestrated by Ed Deepno, viewing the world through the warped lens of his severed master cord.
So their mission became clear. Stop Ed.
Urgently, yeah. And to do that, they had to confront Atropos himself in his underground lair.
What did they find there?
This grotesque storehouse, filled with personal objects taken from all the people whose life threads Atropos planned to cut at the Civic Center event.
Objects like what?
Rings and magazines, keychains and umbrellas, hats and glasses, rattles and radios, all sorts of everyday things.
And these items?
They still sang with the voices, the energy of their living owners. Ralph understood their connection to the master cord was vital.
So he recovered some specific items.
Yeah, Lois's earrings, Ed's own wedding ring, and a sneaker belonging to Gage Creed, a child victim from another tragedy mentioned in the accounts. It underlines this deep link between personal items and the long-time energy binding people.
And then the confrontation with Atropos.
Dramatic stuff. Ralph forces Atropos to confirm he did cut Ed's cord, setting everything in motion.
And then Ralph makes this incredible promise.
Yeah. A life for a life, Natalie's, in exchange for mine.
Wow.
He accepts this painful ritual. Clotho cuts his arm with scissors, a literal metaphysical deal with real-world stakes, all to guarantee Natalie's safety.
A profound sacrifice.
Then he fights Atropos, gets the items back, and stops him from recutting Ed's cord. He saves Natalie and saves everyone at the Civic Center.
That really is the ultimate act of agency within this whole bizarre reality, isn't it? Choosing sacrifice like that.
Absolutely. It really shows that even when your perception's been manipulated, individual choice, moral courage, that still matters most.
His promise wasn't forced on him by the long-timers.
Not at all. It was his free decision. It shows the power of human compassion, human agency, even facing cosmic forces. Yeah. Maybe that's the core insight here, that human spirit, human connection, it can influence even these grand, seemingly predetermined schemes.
So after all that, after saving the day, Ralph returns back to the short-time world.
Right. And he and Lois, they forge this really deep, loving connection, find happiness in their later years. They even adopt a dog, Rosalie.
Does he retain any of the abilities? The perception?
Some residual stuff, yeah. He can still occasionally blink back to the long-time world. It's part of him now.
And what about Helen and Natalie Deepno after everything Ed put them through?
Their lives improve significantly, too. They get financial independence from an insurance windfall actually facilitated by another character, John Lydecker.
So a positive outcome for them, a kind of triumph over the madness.
Definitely. It shows that even after that kind of trauma linked to these cosmic events, a normal, happy life is still possible. There's hope.
There's this interesting little note about the long-timers, Clotho and Lachesis.
Oh, yeah.
They express a kind of strange pity for short-timers, for humans.
Oh, why?
They recognize the powerful inner lives people have, but they admit they don't truly comprehend the reality of those lives, the emotions which drove them, or the actions.
So there's this vast philosophical distance. They have this incredible power, but they miss the essence of human experience.
Seems like it. And Ralph and Lois, they're changed forever, obviously.
Irrevocably. They even look younger, apparently. Their perception of the world is permanently altered.
Do they still see the little bald doctors?
Occasionally, yeah. They manage to appear again sometimes. Which raises that big question, right? What's it mean to live with that kind of expanded awareness?
Knowing there are these forces shaping reality beyond your control.
But still having your individual life, your love, your choices. How do you reconcile that profound knowledge with just everyday living?
It's a lot to think about. So what does this all mean for us, listening to this? If our everyday reality might hold hidden layers, if unseen forces could be at play, how do we even discern truth from madness in our own lives?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
And maybe. What unexpected powers or strengths might lie dormant inside us, just waiting for some extreme situation to awaken them, proving that ordinary people really can effect extraordinary change?